1.1, specific frequency of light has enhanced visibility of fluids. And in figure 1.2, good visibility of wounds because of special light source. Next is associative evidence, which provide links between individual and item found in crime scene. I have shown here sign of addition, which means that individual and item are making links between them. As you can see in figure 2.1, glasses can be related to specific person giving us link to that person. So it is a associative evidence. In figure 2.2, bullets and blood giving us link with suspect. And in figure 2.3, pistols in hand. So these are associative evidence. This may include items such as fingerprints, blood, bodily fluids, weapons, hair fibers. The main issue to bear in mind is that no conclusion can be drawn from the absence of detected associative evidence targets. All these are associative evidence, and other example can be semen from sexual assault, saliva from spitting, pain transfer during burglary, and soil from a scene. In some cases, the associative evidence may less definitive and provide confirmation of other evidences. Associative evidence can be divided into two categories: class evidence, not considered unique examples such as rope fiber, carpet fiber, glass, etc., and identification evidence positively provides for identification, blood, DNA, semen, fingerprints. Next is chain of custody, sequential documentation of physical or electronic evidence. Chain of custody is required for it to be legally considered as evidence in court. Procedure of establishing um, chain of custody begins at the crime scene. A forensic investigator carefully studies the scene and takes photographs and detailed notes for each piece of evidence found. As you can see here from figures, these notes must include time and date of evidence recovery, location of item, description of item, condition of it, and the unique markings on items. Next is contamination and cross contamination. I'm giving you difference in both so that you can get a clear knowledge and you can learn it easily. Sorry, I think there is some mistake. Just yes, contamination is caused by improper handling, and cross contamination it is transfer of bacteria or other microorganism from one substance to another. In contamination, it is related to transfer of unwanted material to any physical evidence. In cross contamination, it is related to transfer of unwanted material to any biological evidence. You can see here physical evidence and biological evidence. There is a difference. In contamination, we can see here examples: inadvertent touching of a weapon, thereby adding fingerprints to it. And examples of cross contamination: improperly collecting blood could lead to one sample mixing with another sample. Mm. Next is just examples of those contamination and cross contamination. I have given here some objects, body materials, impression, and types of biological evidence. You can see it. I will send it in group. Next is control sample. These are fully known to the forensic community with respect to composition, identification, source, type, and are properly performed so that results are reliable. You can see here examples. Control samples may come from victim, suspect, or from items collected from the crime scene. Examples are given here: known drug samples for suspected illegal drug sample, known blood types in violent crime investigation, and known DNA types of trace evidence cases. Next is elimination sample, material of a known source taken from a person who had lawful access to the scene, or objects collected at the crime scene. Elimination sample include elimination fingerprints, DNA sample. As you can see here, I have wrote that a DNA sample collected from an individual, not through to be a suspect in a crime, but to help investigator to analyze the evidence. We can't tell him that he is a suspect, but we are using information from that person. Next is first responders, the initial responding law enforcement officer or other public safety official or service provider, or arriving at the scene prior to the arrival of the investigator in charge. It includes many responsibilities: safety of all individuals, establishing the perimeter of the crime scene, determining where the suspect entered and exited, keeping unauthorized people out of the crime scene. Next is fluorescent powders. Powder containing fluorescent chemicals that, if applied to a surface to reveal latent prints, used in conjunction with an alternate light source. These are present in multiple colors. They are available in red, green, orange, pink, and blue. Uh, I have given here definition of latent print. Maybe everyone is much familiar to it, but I am again repeating. A fingerprint, palm print, or footprint that is not readily visible under normal lighting. Next is impression evidence. Objects or material that have retained the characteristics of other objects that have been physically present against them. Or you can say created when two objects come in contact with enough force to cause an impression. For example, marks on a bullet caused by the barrel of firearm. And here I have given in figure 10.1 impression evidence of shoe print and impression evidence of a tire. Next is the other responders, individuals who are involved in an aspect of the crime scene, such as perimeter security, traffic control, media management, medical examiners, coroners, forensic examiners, evidence technicians, fire and rescue officers, as well as prosecutors. Next is presumptive test, a test that is typically conducted at a crime scene that provides investigators with basic information regarding the compound in question. Presumptive tests can typically reveal the class of evidence, but are unable to confirm the specific compounds of which it is compared. Presumptive tests in medical and forensic science analyze a sample and establish one of the following. The sample is definitely not a certain substance. The sample probably is a substance. So we have done presumptive test for what? For to know that the sample is definitely not a certain substance, or it is the sample probably is a substance. If you are not getting it still, I will explain it later again. For example, the Kastler-Mayer test will show either that a sample is not blood or that sample is probably blood, but may be a less common substance. Further chemical tests are needed to prove that the substance is blood. Mostly presumptive tests used for blood detection are Kastler-Mayer test, malachite green test, benzidine test. Presumptive tests are not definitive, and further confirmatory tests are always required. Since confirmatory tests are the tests required to confirm the analysis, confirmatory tests cost more than simple presumptive tests, and these are often done to see if confirmatory tests are necessary. Next is probative, which means the certifier, having the quality or function of proving or demonstrating something, affording proof or evidence. In Hindi, we can say probative as the gawah. Mm. For example, you can see here. In case of a motor vehicle accident, a witness testimony that she saw one automobile enter the intersection on a red light is a probative fact about whether the driver was at fault. It is just for fun. I have done this, so nothing to define. Next is reconstructive evidence, which allows investigation to gain an understanding of the action that took place at the scene. A broken window, a blood spatter, pattern, bullet paths, and shoe prints are examples of reconstructive evidence. Next is reference sample. These are the evidence whose origin is known, such as blood or hair from a suspect that can be compared to crime scene evidence. As you can see here, we can only use a hair found at the crime scene if we have hair to compare it with that. The examination of evidence, whether it is soil, blood, glass, hair, fibers, and so on, often requires comparison with known reference samples. Next is trace evidence, evidence that results from the transfer of small quantities of materials and is created when objects make contact. The material is often transferred by heat or induced by contact friction. For example, hair, textile fibers, paint chips, glass fragment, gunshot residue, particles. As you can see here, traces of an sub- any substance which was kept in this glass. So this is the trace evidence. Next is transient evidence, which by its nature or conditions at the scene will lose its evidentiary value if not preserved and protected. For example, blood in rain. एग्जाम्पल ओडोर ओडोर में हमारे पास आ गए प्यूट्रीफैक्शन प्योर परफ्यूम गैसोलाइन यूरिन बर्निंग एक्सप्लोसिव cigarette and cigar smoke, in temperature coffee, water in bathtub, and cadaver, imprints and indentations, footprint teeth marks in perishable foods, tire marks on certain surface. This is Edmond Locard's Sherlock Holmes of France principle. Every contact by a criminal leaves behind a trace. As I have shown here in this, traces leave after substance getting out in this class. Next is unknown or questioned sample. Evidence of unknown origin. These samples could be found at a crime scene, transferred to an offender during commission of a crime, or recovered from more than one crime scene. Now, that is the end of my presentation. Now, no more boring lecture.